Hi! I am ARIEL DELA CRUZ, 28 years old, a passionate and dedicated mathematics teacher from the Philippines. I hold a degree in secondary education, major in mathematics, and I have completed the academic requirements for my master's degree in educational management. I have 5 years of teaching experience handling mathematics from grade 7 to grade 10. I use learner-centered and creative strategies to make math engaging and meaningful. Throughout my teaching career, I have valued collaboration and open communication, and I consider myself teachable, always open to learning and adapting to improve my teaching practices. I am committed to creating an inclusive and supportive classroom that builds students' confidence and curiosity. In my free time, I enjoy playing chess, basketball, solving puzzles, and organizing chess tournaments and exploring new teaching methods and strategies. When I was in my 5th grade, I really hated math. I found it difficult and overwhelming. But everything changed because of my math teacher, Mr. Justado Sichon Sr. He had a unique way of making lessons simple and easy to understand. He believed in me, encouraged me, and helped me overcome my fear of math. He always reminded me that I could do it, and that changed everything. From that point on, I started to enjoy and love learning mathematics. He inspired me to become a math teacher myself, so I can help students the way he helped me by making math more enjoyable, more engaging, and more meaningful. Aside from teaching, I actively involved in various extracurricular activities in our school. I serve as math club advisor, where I guide students through fun and challenging activities to develop in critical thinking and teamwork. I also coach students for math competitions at school in district levels. In addition, I am the advisor and trainer of our chess club. I organize chess tournament not only in our school but also in our community. These activities allow me to support students beyond classroom and help them grow in both academics and personal areas. In my 5 years of teaching experience, I have taught mathematics to junior high school students from grade 7, 8, 9, and 10. My students are usually between 13 to 16 years old. I always start by reviewing the learning objectives and aligning them to the curriculum. I plan activities that fit my students' levels and learning styles, incorporating real-life examples to make concepts easier to understand. I also take into account student feedback when preparing my activities to ensure they are engaging, relevant, and responsive to their needs. My lesson plans typically consist of introduction or warm-up activity, mini lessons, guided practice, independent or group activities, and assessment. I create visual aids, use technology tools like presentations or videos, and develop strategies for different types of learners to support both who struggles and those who excel. I use differentiated instruction and small group teaching to effectively reach all levels and styles. I group my students strategically based on their performance, learning styles, and specific needs. Sometimes using mixed ability groups for peer learning, and other times forming groups with similar skills for more focused discussion. These methods allows me to provide targeted support to struggling learners and offer challenging tasks to advanced students. I also incorporate various tools like visual aids, manipulatives, and interactive technology to address different learning preferences. This approach has proven to be highly effective in my classroom as it increases student engagement, builds confidence, and leads to better understanding and improved performance in mathematics. When someone walks into my classroom, they'll see students engaged in structured and student-centered learning environment. We usually start with quick warm-up, a few review problems, or math riddle on the board to get students thinking. Then, I lead a short mini lesson using the whiteboard, anchor charts, or short video to introduce the day's concept. After that, students transition into independent practice, working on tasks that match their skill level. While most of the students are working independently, I pull small groups based on the data from the previous lesson or informal assessments. This small group time allows me to give targeted support or enrichment as needed. Throughout the lesson, I walk around to check students, asking guide questions, and monitor their progress. Before wrapping up, I use quick assessments like an exit ticket, a quick share out, or quiz, to gauge how well students understood the lesson. The classroom is busy but focused, with students actively working, thinking, and supporting one another. To evaluate my students' progress, I use mix of formative and summative assessment. I check for understanding through exit tickets and observation during the group or independent work. This helped me adjust instruction as needed. I also use quizzes, tests, and performance tasks to assess the mastery of skills in our lessons. I review student work and problem-solving strategies to understand their thinking, not just their final answers. I sometimes use rubrics and track progress through data and notes. I also encourage students' reflection where they explain their methods and what they've learned. This balanced approach helps me support both skills growth and deeper understanding. Yes, I regularly use technology to support my math teaching and math lessons more engaging. I often use tools like Google Slides, YouTube videos, online practice sites like Khan Academy, and interactive quizzes like Kahoot and Quizzes to review and reinforce concepts. This helped me to reach different types of learners and provide intermediate feedback. I also have experience using a smartboard in our school. I use it during many lessons to model the step-by-step solutions, display visuals like number lines or graphs, and sometimes even to play a short interactive math games with the class. I like calling students up to the board to solve problems and explain their thinking. It keeps them engaged and gives them the sense of ownership on the board. The smartboard has been a great tool for making lessons more interactive, and especially when introducing new topics or reviewing before a test. Based on my classroom experience, the most effective ways to manage noisy and inattentive students without distracting the discussion include silent cues, like eye contact and proximity, giving a lights up on their desk as I walk by, or placing a quiet reminder card on their table. Each of these small actions quickly redirect behavior while keeping the lesson on track. One of my difficult challenges was students' low retention of key skills from one unit to another. Integer operations, for example, would vanish just weeks after we mastered them. To fix this, I introduced a daily flashback warm-up with 2 to 3 review problems, and ran a weekly small group retrieval practice where students quiz and teach each other. I tracked the retention with quick exit ticket and simple chart to identify who needed extra help. Over 2 quarters, I recall on review checks rose from about 50% to over 80%, and new lessons finally built on solid foundation. I consider myself a flexible teacher who is always open to adapting new strategies and methods, especially in the new learning environment. If a colleague shares an approach that has worked very well on their students, I am more than willing to adjust my own teaching to try it. Being flexible allows me to respond to the needs of my students and continuously improve my practices based on what works best for my students in the classroom.